My name is Greta Thunberg. I'm a citizen of Sweden. If you are watching this video, I have been abducted and taken against my will by Israeli forces. Our humanitarian mission was non-violent and abiding by international law. Please tell my government to demand my and the others' immediate release.
Well, I'm watching the video, and that must mean you are kidnapped, and that is horrifying. Greta has been kidnapped. We have been seeing this. We've seen it now. We note that there are photos that were released 2 hours ago about them being held by the IDF. This is a little bit drastic, a little bit crazy, and a little bit off the hinges, but not too dissimilar from what has happened before. Greta has been kidnapped before, essentially, or captured or held, whatever you want to call it. Things that right is the video we just saw. That's essentially what's happening here. So I want to point something out. People have often asked me, how do you feel about Palestine and Israel? That's their favorite question to ask me, because they want to show that I show undying support for Palestine, or some people want to see that I'm actually backing up Israel. Some people want to see that in that variety. Now, I want to say this right now. My first concern always is the people of Detroit. Just want to point that out. I live in Detroit, focus on myself, my home. However, I can think a system of things. I can think other thoughts. I think that what's happening in Israel and Palestine is disgusting. I think war is gross. I think it's nasty. I hate every single second of it. I think Palestine should not be getting destroyed by Israel. It is disgusting, and I hate seeing the loss of life and the abhorrent amount of war crimes that are going on currently. Greta is one of the few people that is actually doing something about it. She's actually out there delivering food, doing humanitarian efforts. That is important. She's a citizen of Sweden, actively going out there. That is important. She's been abducted. And this is how I feel about the IDF. I think that they do too much. I think it's ridiculous. And I think we got to look at this, right? We got to see Greta Thunberg being dragged off on a boat by Israeli forces. It's just a surreal image. You got to stop and ask, what are we doing here? What's happening? Are we complicit in a genocide? You know what I mean? Are we? Of course we are. We're America. Why would we not be? I don't know why you guys thought we weren't. This is insane. I really don't grasp why you were confused about why we, of all people, we'd be complicit in this. That doesn't make any sense to me. That we don't want an all-out war, obviously, and Donald Trump is not a good person. Neither is Kamala Harris. Both are not good people. I don't think either of these people are good people. Greta is a young climate activist whose entire identity, whole thing, has been about nonviolent protests. She's basically Thorfinn from Vinland Saga. That's who she is. She's sailing to deliver humanitarian aid, and suddenly she's framed as some kind of threat that requires military interception in international waters. That's chilling. That is deeply chilling. I think it says more about the fragility of power than it says about the people being targeted, doesn't it? You know, the word kidnapping might sound dramatic, but that's how exactly Greta herself framed it. I'm not making up a word. She said abducted, kidnapped. That's what's going on. When you look at the details, it's hard to argue. The flotilla was not armed. It wasn't sneaking in weapons. It was carrying aid. I know how you feel about Hamas and how disgusting they might be and how they're fighting back. If you have your opinions about that, you can leave them at the door. This is completely separate. I think that the Gaza Strip is destroyed. I don't know if you've seen the Gaza Strip. I don't know if you've seen it. It is bad. It is really, really bad. Because there's nothing there. There is basically nothing there. I'm going to show you the differences. So, this is the Gaza Strip. Within a few days, this is 11 days of bombing. 11 days. There's nothing. It's a complete wasteland compared to what it once was. It is insane. Gaza is gone, essentially. Gaza is wiped out. Everyone is gone. It's just gone. It's just gone. It's bad. It's really disgusting to see such wanton destruction. It's really, really, really ridiculous. So whatever you want to say about it, I don't care. Because Israel claims they acted legally. The vessels were intercepted outside Gaza in disputed waters, which, complicates everything, right? Because are you going to question Israel? They might attack your place next. If you're seizing activists on the high seas, removing them by force and holding them without consent, well, that's a war crime for one. But how is that anything but a kidnapping? How? Greta, to me, and to many people, is a symbol. That's why this matters so much. Greta is the woman that everybody wants to be on TikTok saying, I want you guys to talk about Palestine and use your platforms to talk about this and that. That's what Greta is not talking about Palestine. Greta is actively going out there and making sure people are safe. She is doing the legwork that everybody thinks they're doing by making these videos. That's what she's doing. She's doing the actual hard work. She's doing incredible work. And I love that. That's amazing. That is what I've always wanted to see. I personally, I'm not going to do it. I got Amazon to do. I got a wife to take care of, and I'm not going to risk my life for anything. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not. Even if Detroit was overrun by thousands of people, guess what? I would sneak to get to work to Amazon because I still got to go to work because I'm a cog in a machine. And I know you may think I'm weak and spineless. Well, I am. Anyways, I think that's why it matters so much, though. Like, this has been a boat of nameless activists. We might have seen a footnote buried in the back page of the news. But this is Greta. She's internationally recognized. She's a figure hated by conservatives and idolized by progressives. This story is going to explode. Hopefully it explodes bigger than what it is, because I've seen nobody talking about this. And maybe that's why she was such a target. To seize her is to make a statement that even global figures can be silenced if they step out of line with the narrative of state power. What's infuriating is, I think, the spin. Israel immediately rushed to say, oh, she's safe, healthy, don't worry about that, we're not going to do anything. Yeah, but she was still taken against her will. I don't know what to tell you that. She was still taken against her will. Strip away someone's freedom and then act magnanimous by insisting, well, we're treating them well. It doesn't matter if you fed her lunch. You still removed her from a boat like she willingly boarded. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, that's the clear violation. That's what it is. I know a lot of people in Israel, especially the IDF, don't value consent, but man, come on now, this is a bit ridiculous. And then what's messing me up is how the West is reacting. If Russia had boarded a ship in international waters and detained Greta Thunberg, Western governments will be frothing at the mouth, issuing sanctions and screaming about human rights violations. But because it's Israel, conversation becomes muted. Oh, our government is shut down right now. We can't focus on anything else. Crazy timing, right? They want to be really diplomatic and cautious with Israel. The double standard is glaring, and it shows how much of geopolitics isn't about principle at all. It's about alliances and which states are allowed to get away with it. This also exposes the criminalization of activism itself. Greta has spent years being mocked, harassed, and now physically detained, all doing non-violent things. She hasn't striked anybody, attacked anybody. She's just non-violent whole way through. Thorfinn. That's what she's doing. That's what it is. It should terrify you. It should terrify everyone that activism has been framed as a criminal act. That means governments don't even have to argue with you anymore. They don't have to debate you. They just stop you, seize you, hold you. And then they say, oh, it's procedure. This is how democracy dies in plain sight. This is what's happening with nonsense in that variety. This is the quiet normalization of detaining those who dissent. We're witnessing here in America what's happening in Chicago and what's happening in Portland, Oregon. And it's not good. It's not good. I hate every single second of this. And this is what's stupid to me. Greta has always been painted as too extreme for simply calling out climate inaction. That's it. She's spreading her activism to Palestine, and she's labeled even more dangerous. But what she's actually doing is consistent, speaking truth to entrenched systems of exploitation, climate change, and military occupation. I might even see her in Portland, Oregon. She speaks great English. Love to see it. What's heartbreaking about this whole thing, if Greta can be grabbed off a boat in international waters, what happens to lesser known activists? What happens to aid workers without a global platform, without millions of followers amplifying their plight? They disappear. They get detained, deported, silenced, and we didn't hear about it. We don't hear about it. Greta is newsworthy, so her kidnapping sparks headlines, but she's a stand-in for countless others who don't get that very same spotlight. This is very dumb. I think the Greta situation, especially in overall about what the IDF even stand for, is about fear. The fear of states losing control of the narrative, the fear of small acts of resistance sparking larger movements, the fear of being exposed. You don't kidnap activists because they're dangerous. You kidnap them because they're effective, because their presence alone threatens to reveal the cracks in your power. Greta was delivering food to people suffering and starving in Palestine. That's what she was doing. That was the entire thing. You can wrap this up in as much legal jargon as you want to, but when a young woman sails into the seas with aid and ends up seized by a navy, stripped of her freedom and held against her will, that's what it is. We need to call this out. This is very important to actually have a voice in this and call it out, because this is just genuinely, from the bottom of my soul and chest, very gross.
I'm your Nick at night, be my Laura Angelo. Ooh, happy to try what you need. Your world, I love to live in it. Ooh, I love the ride when you're free.